In this video, we're going to discuss the easiest way of solving a quadratic equation. This way of solving the quadratic equation is just by rearranging the equation for x. Now, this won't work when the equation is in certain forms. It only works if the equation is in standard form. Standard form is y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. The only time you'll be able to use this method if there's no bx term. When would you have no bx term? When b is equal to 0. Then 0 times x is just 0, so the whole bx term falls out. Another time you'd be able to use this when your equation is in vertex form. We'll discuss vertex form more later. If you were to rewrite this in standard form, you would write x minus h y is equal to x minus h times x minus h plus k, and you would FOIL this. You would FOIL x minus h times x minus h, then it would be in standard form. Vertex form is like this, where h is the x coordinate of the vertex, and k is the y coordinate of the vertex. We're going to discuss it more at length later, but for now, all you need to know is that when it's in this form, you can solve it by rearranging the equation for x. Let's look at some actual examples. Y is equal to x squared minus 4. Now, we can solve this by rearranging for x because our equation is in the form y is equal to ax squared plus c. We have no bx term. So this is one of the times where we could solve for the roots or for the x-intercepts by rearranging for x. Whenever we're solving for x-intercept of any equation, a quadratic, a linear, an exponential, the way to do it is to set y equal to 0, because wherever a graph crosses the x-axis, the y-coordinate of that point is going to be 0. So 0 is equal to x squared minus 4. Then we just rearrange for x. Plus 4 to both sides to move it away from the x. Plus 4 and minus 4 cancel out. Plus 4 is equal to x squared, but we want x alone. So we take the square root of the x squared and the square root of the positive 4. But remember that when you're taking the square root of any positive number, let's say the square root of 4, the square root of 4 could either be 2 or it could be negative 2 because 2 times 2 is 4 and negative 2 times negative 2 is also 4. So when you take the square root of any positive number, you have to write plus or minus outside. So x is equal to plus or minus 2. These would be the roots or the x-intercept or the zeros of this equation. Let's see if we got it right. Let's graph it on the calculator. Let's graph the equation on the calculator. Y is equal to x squared minus 4. And zoom 6 for zoom standard. And you can see very easily from this graph that the parabola crosses the x-axis at x is equal to 2 and at x is equal to negative 2, which is what we found when we solved it. Let's look at another example. Y plus 16 is equal to x squared minus 9. We can solve for the roots of this equation by rearranging the equation for x because we see that we have no x term. We have no bx term. If we were to rearrange it, the equation would be in the form y is equal to ax squared plus c, and we have no bx term, we have no x term. Whenever we have an equation, any equation, to find the x-intercept, to find the roots, to find the zeros, we want to set y equal to 0. So 0 plus 16 is equal to x squared minus 9. Now we just want to rearrange this for x. So the 0 just falls out. 16 is equal to x squared minus 9, plus 9, plus 9, plus 9 minus 9 cancel out. 16 plus 9 is 25. 25 is equal to x squared. Now we want to get x alone. Now we have x squared. We want to get x. Square root of x squared, the square root of 25. We always want to write plus or minus outside because plus or minus 5 is equal to x, because positive 5 times positive 5 is 25. Negative 5 times negative 5 is also 25. So the roots of this equation are negative 5 and positive 5. This parabola would cross the x-axis at x is equal to 5 and at x is equal to negative 5. Let's look at another example. Y is equal to x minus 2 squared minus 64. Our equation is in vertex form in this case, so we can solve it by rearranging the equation for x. Let's do that. Whenever we're solving an equation for its root and its x-intercepts, we always want to set y equal to 0. So 0 is equal to x minus 2 squared minus 64. Now we're just going to rearrange this equation for x. Plus 64 to both sides. 64 is equal to x minus 2 squared. Now we want to get x minus 2 alone, and then we could just add the 2 to both sides to move it to the other side. So we're going to take the square root of x minus 2 squared, the square root of 64, and of course when we're taking the square root of a number, it's always plus or minus that number, because the square root of 64 is either positive 8 or negative 8. So plus or minus 8 is equal to, whenever we have the square root of something being squared, they cancel each other out. So we're left on this side with x minus 2. Now to get x totally alone, we just add 2 and add 2. So what is x equal to? X is equal to positive or negative 8 plus 2. Now let's see what this is. X is either equal to positive 8 plus 2, or x is equal to negative 8 plus 2. Positive 8 plus 2 is positive 10. Negative 8 plus 2 is negative 6. So this parabola crosses the x-axis at x is equal to 10 and at x is equal to negative 6. Let's look at another example. Y minus 3 is equal to negative x plus 6 squared plus 13. Since our equation is in vertex form, we can rearrange it for x and solve for the x-intercepts of this equation. We do that by setting y equal to 0, so 0 minus 3 is equal to negative x plus 6 squared plus 13. The 0 falls out, so we're left with negative 3 is equal to negative x plus 6 squared plus 13. Now we want to rearrange this equation for x plus 6 squared. We'll take the square root of that and solve for x. So the first thing we're going to do is move the constant to the other side. Minus 13 and minus 13. Negative 3 minus 13 is negative 16. Negative 16 is equal to negative x plus 6 squared. We're going to divide away the negative by dividing by negative 1. So 16 is equal to x plus 6 squared. Now we want to get x plus 6 alone. We're going to take the square root of this side and take the square root of this side. Since this side is a number, it's plus or minus the number. The square root of 16 is 4, so positive or negative 4 is equal to, when we have the square roots of something being squared, they cancel each other out. So plus or minus 4 is equal to x plus 6. We want to rearrange this equation for x, so we're going to subtract 6 and subtract 6. Now we have x is equal to positive or negative 4 minus 6. So x is either equal to positive 4 minus 6, or x is equal to negative 4 minus 6. So positive 4 minus 6 is negative 2. Negative 4 minus 6 is negative 10. So this parabola would cross the x-axis at x is equal to negative 2 and at x is equal to negative 10.